Adrienne Verdad, the only woman who captured his heart. He met her on a beautiful day. The skies were clear, summer was just about to begin. The heat of the sun wasn't as brutal as that of the previous days. He remembered being excited as he made his way to work. His first actual job outside the family business. Barely noticing his surroundings, he was surprised when someone bumped into him. He grabbed the other person's arm reflexively, preventing them from falling face first onto the asphalt road. As he did so, he noted the fragrant smell of perfume and realized for the first time that the figure in front of him was a woman. He stared down at her in concern. His heart skipped a beat as he stared at her beautiful face. All annoyance dissipated, he focused on this wonderful being before him. She was a head shorter than him. Her dark brown eyes were wide. Her lips, which were parted in surprise, were pink. Her cheeks were also pink in embarrassment. Her long silky, black hair was cascading down her back. He stood there steadying her, gazing down at her in amazement. It was she who broke the silence first. She straightened out of his grip and looked down at her feet. I'm so sorry, she stammered. I was in such a rush to get to work. It's my first day and I can't be late. He realized his hand was still raised and let him fall to his side. He cleared his throat and said, "Don't worry about it. It's my first day at work too. I understand." She looked up, with a relieved smile. "Thanks. I can't believe how careless I was." Then curiously asked, "Where will you be working?" Momentarily dazzled by her brilliant smile, he was not able to answer right away. When he did, his voice came out strangled. "Tur Publishing." He mumbled almost incoherently. She seemed to understand what he said, though for her eyes grew wide in disbelief. "You're kidding. Me too. Really? We'll be working in the same office?" "Yes," Henry thought to himself, trying to keep the excitement off his face. "Yeah," she replied enthusiastically. "And we're both starting today. What a coincidence. Maybe it's fate," he blurted out without thinking. Her cheeks turned pink again. He wanted to kick himself. Where did that come from? After a few awkward moments, she offered her hand to him and said, "I'm Adrienne Verdad." "Nice to meet you. Such a beautiful name," he thought as his heart hammered against his chest. He surreptitiously wiped his sweating palm in his jeans before taking hers. "Henry Reyes, pleasure is all mine." She smiled at that, dazzling him again. "Come on, we're going to be late," she said, leading the way. He followed, mesmerized. From that day, he wasted no time getting to know her. Less than a week later, they're on their first date. He had never been so nervous in his life. He stammered a lot and lost his train of thought every time she smiled at him. She seemed nervous too, but they kept talking. By the end of their date, he got her to agree to go on another. And so they did. She told him about her family, talked about how it was like to be raised in the province, and how much she's loving Manila so far. He watched her mesmerized, noting how she would put her fingers behind her ears nervously, or how she would fidget with the table napkin when silence fell. He listened to her soft voice, loving the regional accent that she has, being raised in Bulacan. She asked him about his life, genuinely interested. Her eyes went wide when he told her he was about to start graduate studies. Encouraged him to keep going until he becomes a college professor. "It's all we can do. Keep taking small steps towards our dreams," she said. By the time their second date was over, he was sure he had found the one. He was ready to tell her he loved her. On their third date, he did. They were sitting by the seawall, overlooking Manila Bay. The sun was just setting, both of them holding coconut juice in their hands. The water was calm, slow waves lapping the rocks below them gently. She was staring off in the distance, watching the sun sink lower on the horizon. A small smile on her face, eyes squinting a little. Her long hair dancing in the breeze. He watched her, as she lifted her head as though to kiss the wind, breathing in deeply. He had never seen anyone so beautiful. "I love you, Adrienne," he said, heart in his throat. "I think I fell in love with you the first time I saw you." She looked at him and smiled, her cheeks turning pink. "Do you love me too?" he asked. She considered him for a second, still blushing faintly. "I don't know. I know I like you," she replied, looking down at her hands. "A lot." He reached out and held her hand for the first time. "I'm willing to wait," he said. She stared at their linked hands and up at him, smiling gratefully. "Thank you." After 2 months of dating, she finally became his girlfriend. It was a Friday afternoon, they just came from work and were hearing Mass together for the first time. After the mass ended, she remained sitting, gazing at the altar with an intense expression on her face. "What are you thinking?" he asked, also remaining in his seat, waiting for her. "I was asking for a sign," she replied. "A sign?" he repeated, confused. "A sign for what?" "I told myself when I woke up this morning that if you're the one for me, I need a sign." She explained. "Then you ask me to go here, to hear Mass. And to me, that's enough." His pulse quickened, he lost his ability to respond. She smiled at the look on his face. "If I'm going to be with someone, it has to be someone I can share my faith with. I think I found him." Is she saying what I think she's saying? He thought at the time. She reached out and gently placed her hand on his chin, closing his mouth. "I love you too, Henry. Now, can we get out of here, please? The next Mass is about to start." They kissed for the first time that night. They stood in front of her apartment, about to say goodbye. She gazed at him patiently, reacting to the nervous vibe coming off him. He stared at her lips, palms sweating, heart going about a mile per minute. "Good night," she said softly. "Good night," he responded, leaning down slowly, waiting for her to pull away. She closed her eyes in response. He kissed her lips softly. Just a brush of his against hers at first. He pulled away to gaze at her. She smiled and linked her arms around his neck. And they kissed for a long time, her mouth opened with a gasp against his. He didn't know how long they stood there, entwined. He only became aware of their surroundings when her apartment door opened to reveal her roommate and best friend, Eliza, staring at them in amusement. They broke apart, laughing nervously together, like teenagers caught by parents in the act of doing something they shouldn't. That kiss was the first of many firsts. He would never forget the first time she agreed to spend the night with him in his apartment. They've been together for months before she accepted his invitation. They were having lunch at their favorite fast food chain when he noticed her silence. "You look nervous about something," he commented, looking at her in concern. "What's wrong? Did something happen at work?" She looked up at him, as though steeling herself. Then she squared her shoulders and reached inside her bag. He watched her curiously as she pulled something long and placed it on the table between them. It was a toothbrush. He frowned and looked at her in confusion. She rolled her eyes at him, obviously thinking he should have gotten what she was telling him. But he was at a loss. Why was she showing him a toothbrush? Did she think he had bad breath? Is she asking him to brush his teeth afterward? Like he'd use a pink toothbrush. "I also brought an overnight bag," she said simply when he continued to look lost. Then it clicked. He felt his mouth opening and closing like a fish pulled out of the water. She just watched him with a nervous smile on her face. You'd. He stammered incoherently. "Yes, Henry, I would," she responded. He couldn't wait for the workday to be over. He was her first. She shivered slightly as he undressed her. Her cheeks were red, looking at him with trust. She was so beautiful, he couldn't believe she's his. She cried in pain as he took possession of her. They danced rhythmically. With each thrust, the tempo quickens in urgency until they reach their climax, crying out together in satisfaction. He gazed down at her as the dance stopped and saw tears in her eyes. "Are you okay?" he asked in alarm. "Yes, I'm just happy," she sobbed. "Oh, Adrienne." He kissed her before collapsing beside her, replete. He had been weak to let his older brother destroy their relationship. To allow him to drive a wedge between him and the only woman he ever loved. "You're my little brother Henry, but we both know I'm the real Reyes, right? You owe me," Brennan had told him, an arm slung around his shoulder. He shook him lightly. Henry felt his stomach drop. How many times had Brennan used that line when he wanted something from him? How many times had he used the fact that he had a better life because of his parents? He had an inkling what Brennan was talking about. He brought Adrienne home to introduce her to their parents and saw how Brennan watched her throughout dinner. "I'm not sure what you mean, Brennan," he said, delaying the inevitable. "Don't you? Well, I'll tell you. I want her. She doesn't even know you," he replied defiantly, getting out from under his arm. Brennan turned faced him. "Not yet," he said, menacingly. "But she will, and she'll forget all about you. So, how about you just give it up?" Henry stood his ground. "She's not some toy you can take. She's my girlfriend and I love her. There are a lot of other women. You can pick whoever you like." He was angry. This is the first time he ever stood up to Brennan. Brennan stared at him, stunned. He couldn't believe Henry would deny him anything. He recovered his initial surprise quickly. "You're right. There are a lot of other girls I can fuck. He advanced, staring him down. But I want her. He enunciated each word, grabbed his head with both hands, and looked into his eyes. And I always get what I want. Not this time, Henry had thought. Henry was startled awake by his alarm. Disoriented, he grabbed his cell phone to turn it off, dislodging the empty beer cans from the night before. He was on his sofa, the TV was still on. He was up late, his mind filled with memories of Adrienne. He got up stiffly, turned it off, and grabbed the cans. He wiped the sleep off his eyes and glanced at the beer cans he emptied the past few days. I think I should take it down a notch. I can't be turning into an alcoholic. Especially now that Adrienne, he caught himself thinking, she's what? Back in my life? Is she? He sighed, he is daring to hope. With coffee in his hand, he went to his room to prepare for the day. As he entered, his eyes were drawn as usual to the painting he made a few years back. A painting of her hair flowing freely in the breeze, surrounded by tall grass and wildflowers. Her skirt dancing in the rhythm of the sea breeze. He didn't need an actual photo of her to finish it, his memories of her were enough. He imagined her standing on a hill overlooking the sea, enjoying the summer sun. He imagined her holding a bouquet of colorful flowers, looking shyly at him with a knowing smile on her beautiful lips. His heart ached just staring at her image. He yearns to hear her voice, to touch her. It was madness to put such a huge reminder of her in his room. Every time he looked at it, he can't help but be reminded of the last time he spoke to her. The rain, her tears, her pain. Maybe this was why he painted her this way, to assuage the torturous guilt. In this image, she will forever be happy. He hadn't painted anything else since. The hobby that once took up a lot of his free time no longer compels him. His drawings and paintings are in a box somewhere in his old room. A few were hanging in the Reyes household. He gave one to Anthony, and of course, he gave some to Adrienne. He wondered if she kept them or if she burned them along with everything he ever gave her. He couldn't blame her if she did. For his part, he kept everything. He still wears the shirt she got him for his birthday. He still uses the same perfume she gave him for their first anniversary, keeping the original bottle on a shelf, prominently displayed beside the action figure she got him. It was madness to keep reminding himself of her, but it was the only way he knows to be near her. It was an even bigger madness to follow her on social media after he accidentally found her on Facebook 6 years ago. His heart swelled with pride at her accomplishments. He found himself worrying every time she posted a group photo, wondering if she found a man to give her what he couldn't. Afraid to find out that Brennan found her too. He couldn't stop himself, could not help feeling relieved to know that he can still see her, even if she doesn't know. Some people would think this is stalking, and maybe they're right. He frowned, remembering one of her posts a couple of weeks ago. This is it. I'm finally going back, it said. He remembered wondering what the cryptic post meant. He should have known she meant college. It was one of the things she'd talk about non-stop before, getting a degree. Never in his wildest dreams would he imagine she's going to the same university where he teaches. I would see her today, he thought. Despite his reservations and worries, he smiled reluctantly.